Good morning and welcome to the Be More News Weekend Edition. We have with us Richard McLaren and Larry Gaines. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Before we get into the obvious national news, Larry, you wanted to tell me a little bit about what's happening with the schools here in Baltimore?
Yes, we're concerned that they want to open schools. They want to bring the kids back into schools. Let me just tell you what the mayor said yesterday. He said that the ICUs, the hospitals, up at that 98% capacity. Basically, he's saying there's no room. So they want to bring the children back. The vaccine is out there, but it's not taking effect yet. Matter of fact, they don't have enough. And they want to bring our children back, and we're not protected. You know, if you're paying attention to California, they're saying, hey, we so overwhelmed. They're telling the emergency workers, make a choice of who you bring and who you don't bring. You follow me? So if we're at 98%, and they say a stronger version of the virus is coming, and when they have to make the decisions who to treat, not to treat, it's going to be our folks in zone 15, 16, 17, 13, the African Americans. And see, the president didn't get out front of it. He said he kind of ignored it. I believe that the governor and people are doing all they can, but they're not paying attention to the children. And when it hit our children, it's going to hit hard. You know, they want us to come back. You know, the governor is doing his best to get people to put masks on. What make you think children and youth are going to keep the masks on? Do the cities do they have enough masks? You know, are we going to be just chasing people all day long? Put your mask on. So I just don't think that it's safe right now. I think they need to have a better grip on this whole situation. And once they get a better grip on it, then we can really talk about opening schools.
Okay, so Larry, give us some background. Do you work in the schools?
I work. Yeah.
Give us some background information.
Okay, I've been an advocate for the school system for a long time. I work in the school, and I have grandchildren in schools, and my wife worked for the schools, and my sisters, and I have a lot of family members that work for the schools. Baltimore City Public Schools.
Mm-hmm. And so what is have you been back to school?
No, we haven't. We've been doing online learning, virtual learning, and they want to change when we go back. They want to change it. They make orders back in February. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know the date or the time. They're having a school board meeting Tuesday, and they could make a decision then.
So this concerns you also because of your age? I mean, you're what, 22, 23?
I'm 64. I'll be 65 in March.
So you're in a danger zone.
Man, I'm under the doctor's care for prostate cancer. I'm a diabetic. I'm in a double danger zone. You follow me? And I'm not.
So let me ask this. Do you agree with the mayor's order to keep restaurants closed?
Well, see, the restaurants, I understand the part about they want businesses. The restaurants are closed for indoor, right? Now, if you want to order something, you can. And I support restaurants when I can, and I order out. You know what I mean? We bring it in. I don't feel safe going in. There's a group of people that do feel safe, and I say, God bless them. So right now, I agree with them to keep the restaurants closed to keep us safe. If this is going to keep us safe. Now, the sad part of that, some people are going to be out of work. How do you compensate them? That little $600 a day issuing is not nothing. Maybe the state to do something with the unemployment, but my thing is safety before dollars.
Mm-hmm. Let's bring in Richard McLaren. Richard works. Richard, you're in the software industry.
Yes, Donny. Hey, good morning. Good morning, all. How are you, man? Yes, yes, Donny. I'm in the IT business, basically in the Cisco hardware, infrastructure, cloud computing. That's my main gig. I owned the company for about 10 years and sold that company, and now consulting. But I also have, as you see behind me, Strength, Courage, and Wisdom umbrella, which is a show similar to yours, which you were a guest of mine, and also Strength, Courage, and Wisdom behavioral health, which is opening up in February, hopefully. We're waiting for our state license. And I also have the McLaren Group, which is a consulting firm that consults businesses and individuals and life coaching and all that kind of stuff. And that's where my public speaking and all that comes out of that. And also have Big Rick Entertainment. So I'm busy trying to stay focused and see what's up, you know.
How has this pandemic affected you, or has it not?
Pandemic, it has affected me. IT industry has grown tremendously during the course of this pandemic because for years, man, I've been telling folks to upgrade their security systems, to get the work from home program in place, things of that nature, but they were forced to do it upon the pandemic. So therefore, there was a big rush, a big surge of business through the months of maybe April to August or September, and everybody had to build their infrastructure up to be able to handle. Before, they were handling maybe 3 or 4 people VPNing, or maybe 100 people calling in for work, working from home. But now the whole institution of 2,500 or 3,000 people they have to get more bandwidth, get more equipment, get more connectivity, get more security around it, and we've been able to do that for them. So there was this big surge from April to August, and now it's kind of slowed down a little bit, but people are still dealing with security issues and bandwidth issues.
Do you like restaurants, Richard?
Yes, I love restaurants. I'm in Baltimore County, and I go to one almost every night.
Well, what do you think about the restaurants in Baltimore City? The mayor announced yesterday, keep them closed. Says the numbers do not support reopening them, even at 25% capacity. Do you agree?
I have to say I respectfully disagree at this particular point in time. I think the record shows that the restaurant industry is not the main factor for the numbers. The restaurant industry has been suffering tremendously. And if you guys really know, and I know you're a business owner, I don't know if Mr. Gaines is, but to be shut down for a couple of months.
He's a business owner.
It been shut down for another 30 days. Just shut down, man, completely, and have to revamp your business if you're going to have to go or take out is a tremendous undertaking. And to be honest with you, I feel like most of the small businesses, most of them will not survive, and then the big conglomerates will come in and take over their properties or the land or the restaurant themselves and move forward. It's a shame, but I know he had to do something, which I think was appropriate, but now I think he needs to loosen up a little bit and keep it moving. But that's his call. He's the mayor. Nothing I can do about it.
What about you, Larry? You think the restaurants ought to be given more leeway to open up more, longer, 25% capacity?
Something needs to be done. But one of the things when I go to a restaurant, I look around at the help. I look for people that look like me. And if they look like me, give them help. Like if I go to a Caribbean restaurant, that's all I'm going to see is people that look like me. But when I go to some restaurants, when I see people don't look like me, and if you don't care about me, why should I care about you? And we know people want jobs. I don't want to hear that our people don't want jobs. I hear people asking for jobs every day. So if you support my community should support you, is what I think. Give us some jobs.
Larry, you know where I live in Santan. There's a liquor store and a corner store about a block from my house, 2 blocks from my house.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to the owners politely. Hey, why don't you pay somebody $20 to clean up the trash
in French's store?
That's in front of the store. That's accumulating in the park, cat corner, and it's amazing the lack of responsibility when we allow other people in our community who don't love it like they love our money, but they don't love us. Because if you love human beings, you would clean the trash, regardless of my race. You just wouldn't want trash associated with your business.
Or the community that you're in. When you become a business in a community, you have a responsibility to your immediate community to be responsible, right? And when you're responsible, you should clean it up. But let me go a step farther there, Donny. When I look right through the town and I look at a corner store, I look at the top floor. When I see the bottom floor is open and then they had the second floor boarded up, I'm like, whoa, this ain't good. This ain't good. Why? That's a part of the community deterioration. Why are they allowing that? When you come into Why are they allowing them to do that? You know what I'm saying? They allow them to do anything. First we saw the Koreans, then we see the Mexicans, but now all we see is the Middle Easterns. Some of those, some of the finest brothers that you ever meet, but they're not doing much. Some of them are doing some things, but overall, they are not doing nothing. They own the liquor stores, they own the restaurants, they do a lot of the carryout. You know, and
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Richard, you're in Baltimore City. You said you're in Baltimore County.
I'm in Baltimore County, Donny, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. It's
What part of Baltimore County, east or west?
I'm in the west, the Owings Mills area.
Okay.
That's where I live. And I can tell you something, man. You know, I frequent a lot of bars, of course, and locally around here and in the city, but mostly in Baltimore County where I live. And I've seen a mass transition, man. Windsor Mill, Corinthians.
Transition of what?
Golden Dragon, going to minority ownership or Indian ownership, basically. Getting out of the hands of African Americans and other minorities, but going strictly to Indians. So all the major bars that we attend now are owned by other folks in Baltimore County, for the most part, the west part. Yeah, there's a couple that are African American, like Identity Lounge. The joint is closed. 5 Mile House is in the city. So there's a very few, what I'm trying to say. But I remember back in the day, Donny, I'm old enough to know, and I don't know how old. I know Mr. Gaines looks as old as I am, but you clean cut. I don't know how old you are, Donny. But I remember the day back in the day, man, in our neighborhoods, man. The African Americans that came from Florida and North Carolina, and they were business owners. They owned the corner stores at one time. They owned the hardware stores at one time. And quite frankly, they owned the liquor stores at one time. But now, man, we don't own anything. I think there's only one, I know of anyway, black-owned liquor store in Baltimore County. It just opened up last year, and he's struggling over at Identity Lounge. He has a liquor store now adjacent to his bar.
Richard, you acting like you don't know what happened.
I know what happened.
Y'all wanted to date them sisters. Them sisters said, we living in Owens Mills. You ain't running the corner store. You gonna go get a 9 to 5, and you gonna handle business here, and you're not gonna ask no questions.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. It's a little bit more deeper than that, but that's part of it. I mean, it's a lot to it, man. What happened though? We got sold a bill of goods, man. To be honest with you, man.
No, Richard, it was integration. We wanted to move to the county.
Absolutely, true.
And we said, to hell with the corner store business, to hell with grandma's house. We want to move to the county.
True.
And when we moved to the county, hell, we're just getting into voting.
Yeah.
You just got your first black county council person in Ken Oliver.
Yep.
And now you have Julian Jones, and he's moved up to council chair. And so he could be your first black county executive. But I want to get back to this current situation. You have Johnny Olszewski out there.
Yes, Johnny O. I'm not familiar with Johnny O. I'm more familiar with the older regimes, to be honest with you. But
you got to get familiar with Johnny O. Because
get familiar with Johnny O. Exactly. I do have to get familiar. I've been kind of like removed from the political scene the last 3 or 4 years, to be honest with you. I leave that to my friends like Scott Phillips and others to deal with that.
Brother, everything we do is political.
True. This is true. This is true.
If we get out there and vote Biden in the office, we can't afford to be on the periphery of politics.
True.
If you're telling me that's okay, I'm confused. But we're going to hear from the boss man. Mr. Deshiel, you know anything about politics?
Trial.
One of my guys right there.
You got that connection again. You got to go out and come back in. You hear it?
Trial.
That's one of my guys right there, Donny. Wow.
Okay.
One of my guys right there. So, Donny, man, I agree with you, man. I heard Olszewski is going to be running for governor, I heard.
Who?
Olszewski, Johnny O.
Oh. So you got Olszewski, you got Francho, and then you got Angela also Brooks down in Prince George's County. I like the black woman. I'm just going to tell you off the break. I got to vote for my own first and foremost.
But there's a very big disconnect between down there and up here, man. That's the whole thing. She has no presence up this way.
And Johnny Olszewski has a presence in Prince George's County?
No. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. But he has a presence in the other 3/4 of Maryland. That's the problem. The other 3/4 of Maryland. See, she's only predominantly known in PG County.
I totally disagree with you. Where'd you get your analysis?
Because I know a lot of folks in PG County. I frequent PG County all the time.
In PG, I frequent DC.
Just like Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson had the same issue. Jack Johnson was only known in PG County for the most part.
But you're telling me Johnny Ochesky is known in Prince George's County?
Not in Prince George's County. I said the other 3/4. Montgomery County,
No.
Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, Baltimore City. He's known. Say her name. What's her name? What is her name?
I take it you're a Johnny Ochesky fan, although you don't know him.
No, what is her name?
Huh?
What is her name?
Angela Also Brooks. That means she'll be first on the list.
You see what I'm saying, Johnny? If you were to say that name out now and ask anybody who they knew who she was,
you're giving us a totally Baltimore perspective. Because if you go down to Montgomery County, Prince George's County, they will know that name. And of course, if you're talking about the big three jurisdictions, Greater Baltimore, Prince George's, Montgomery County, all she needs is a good portion of the blacks in Baltimore. She's got Prince George's County. I see her with the coal advantage. Plus, you got Francho and you got Johnny Ochesky both dipping from the same pool.
I agree with that now. I do agree with that. And I do agree that she can probably win if she can get the vote. I just don't think she is as popular as you.
And she's pretty.
I hope she is anyway. Let's put that way.
Well, people vote for pretty people. I mean, that's how Martin O'Malley came to be your governor. Black women voted for Martin O'Malley. They thought he was cute. That's what happened. Then he get in there and he locked up everybody. Mr. DeShield, what about Baltimore County? What's going on out there? Richard's saying, what were you saying, Rich? I won't speak for you. You speak for yourself.
I was just telling them that, you were talking about the bars and restaurants, and I was sharing with them that, unfortunately, in the West Side anyway, the Indians are scooping up all the bars and all the restaurants and all the liquor stores. They've had most of them. There's only one liquor store I know of that's owned, and that just opened up this past year, and that was at a Deity Lounge right next door to him. I try to frequent him as much as possible. But most of the big bars that used to be open back in the day, Windsor, Corinthians, Golden Dragon, I go all these bars and restaurants that got takeout and eat in, and they're open in Baltimore County right now, are owned by Indians. And they are just taking over, man. And
they're not friendly to us.
Business, they're taking over.
And a lot of them not friendly to us. But I remember back in the Black Lives Matter movement, and we said shop black, especially when they had the thing over at the Vincent's Crab House. I went to Collins, to the new one up at was it Lock Raven?
Yep.
I went up there. Collins Liberty Road was so busy you couldn't think about it.
Right.
And then when I went to Collins up at Lock Raven, the lady say, "Listen, it's going to be a half-hour wait. If we can put out pressure on ourselves and shop black, they'd change the way they do business." But sometimes, and I'm guilty of it, we want convenience. I live in the city. To go all the way up Liberty Road to get some jerk chicken, or go up Collins to get some fried fish or Granny's, sometimes it's not convenient. And those guys sometimes don't deliver so far in the city. But if we put the pressure on ourselves, I'm going to spend my money on people that support me. It'll be a different world out here. All of them will change the way they do business. All of them will come through our neighborhood hollering, "Kumbaya, I'm one of you, brother," because they want the dollar. And if you look at the people that make $1 million, they make it in the black community. A lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
First, I want to say, hey, Mr. DeShields, how you doing, man?
Richard, how you been? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, man. Long time no see.
It's been a minute, but I'm still kicking the can.
You playing golf?
Oh yeah. In fact, not as much as I would like to because of the situation, but every time I can hit it and find it, I'm gonna hit it again.
I know that's right, my man. my man. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Look like we lost Donny for a minute there.
Thank
you. You'll come back on. What do you think of Baltimore County, Mr. DeShields?
Well, in many ways, I think the county is really more progressive than the city is right now. I mean, if you look at the not just the fact that the restaurants are open and they're siphoning off all the businesses that Brandon is closing, but you've got You've got a county administrator, a black woman named Stacy Rogers. You've got a county head of the Department of Health and Human Social Services, named Dr. Greg Branch. You've got a black county attorney named James Benjamin. You've got a black woman who's the head of the Department of Public Works named D'Angela Watkins. You've got a black man who's the head of the Department of Economic Development named Leonard Howie. And you've got an Economic Development Commission on which I think it's about 25 members. About 7 or 8 of those members are black, and that includes me. So and all of these folks now down in the trenches, in the bowels of the government, the old boys haven't gone away. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But
so you agree with Richard that Johnny Olszewski will be the next next governor of the state of Maryland?
I didn't say that.
You didn't?
Don't put words in my mouth, Donny.
You didn't say that?
I did not say that. Absolutely not.
Oh, my bad.
I think my suggestion to the CE is that he stay where he is for at least another term.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
As well.
I agree with that.
So then you support Francho?
I didn't say that either.
No.
I think Francho's been running for something ever since he got to be comptroller. Francho, I've had mixed dealings with him. His office has generally been open, but when the rubber meets the road, he's been in the wrong direction, heading in the wrong direction in most of the instances where I've had to deal with him. Even though his office has been open, even though they talk, a good as though they are of one mind and one accord. When it comes time to vote, in most cases on critical issues, I've seen him go a direction that I would not have had him go.
Okay, gentlemen, you've all been watching the news. Please give me your take, Richard, on the Capitol killings. We understand that at least 5 people have been killed.
It's a shame. That's all I can tell you, man. Watching that unfold was very, very disgraceful. I am concerned about America. I think I shared this with you yesterday on the phone. I'm concerned about the direction. They've known this for 4 years when they elected this guy in the office, that something of this magnitude was going to happen. And it happened in front of their eyes, and now they're running for the hills. Now they're claiming woe is me, whatever the case may be. But I'm saddened by the deaths. I'm thinking he should be brought up some kind of charges. I think they're trying to impeach him as move forward, but I think that's political theater. That's not going to happen. Mitch McConnell's not going to let that go through. Most of the Republicans are not going to let that go through. And we need to learn something from Republicans. There's one thing I've noticed over most of my life, but more predominantly now in the last 4 years. Republicans stick with Republicans whether you're right or you're wrong. They don't care. Yeah, but Democrats have this soft spot, this area where they always got to think about the other side and be concerned about whatever and do things quote unquote right. And they showed us over and over the last 4 years whether you can have family in the house, whether you don't have to working in the White House, whether you don't have to pay taxes, whether you can go and start a war or go kill somebody without forming Congress or what you're getting ready to do, hide evidence, whatever you want to do, they can do it without any regard. But Democrats feel as though they have to walk this narrow path. And then the other issue I have that I'm concerned about with the Democrats is that we're so disjointed. As you know, with Obama and other Democrat presidents, whenever we went in front of the Senate and Congress, they were more split than the Republicans were. They never could agree 80% or 90% on nothing. It was more of a 60% agreement on things because everybody had their own agendas. So we got to look at this and take heed of this and take this moment and start really developing something moving forward.
Richard, all this week on this show, Mr. DeShields has been saying America has not dealt with its original sin. And until we deal with that original sin, slavery, we've been stolen, our labor's been stolen, our land has been stolen, our resources have been stolen. And when we went on to, despite all of that discrimination, to build a Black Wall Street or to build communities in other parts of the country like Rosewood, Florida, like Oklahoma City even, They were bombed and burned to the ground. We have not dealt with our original sin. Do you agree with that or not?
Oh, I agree with that. Oh,
I agree with it.
absolutely.
I agree with it.
I definitely agree.
Larry?
Go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry.
Donnie, let me say this. I've been watching. I agree with what you said. Absolutely. When you talk about Black Wall Street and black money, we had money flowing through our neighborhood up until the riots. When they made the numbers illegal, that money came out of our neighborhood. All that money was flowing through our neighborhood, but it was an orchestrated effort to cut us off at our knees. When they took the lottery out, they took out our community. They took out our political cult because we had people like Little Willie Adams and others that was putting money up, putting people in office. And they hurt us. That's when the Koreans came in right after the lottery. If you go back and look at it, they came in 75. But let me talk about Washington real quick. I was watching CNN, and it was the black senator from South Carolina. He said when they came in, they came to his office looking for him, and he said, where he was at? Nobody should have known where he was at. So somebody in the military took and gave them all the information they needed. As Donald Trump, stand down. They told the people, stand down, do not let it. Governor Hogan said, I was going to send the military, but they didn't respond. They didn't want the military there. They wanted those folks to do what they did. But the thing about it, the most part I saw, I don't like to see nobody get killed and all of that. But I say this, they got the right people upset. They got Pelosi and all the senators and all of them upset. But one of the best statements that came out, Joe Biden said, his granddaughter said, if that was Black Lives Matter, it wouldn't happen. So for the president to put that type signal out there, I thought that was good. Now, I'm cautious because I don't know what they're going to do. I was talking to a cousin of mine live in Virginia, and he's a hunter. They go out deer hunt every day. He said he went in a gun shop to get some parts for one of his shotguns. He said them white boys is in there buying them assault rifles. He said certain ammunition you can't buy. So they've been talking Civil War for a long time. Right over here with Robert E. Lee, they used to go over there every year in January and honor him and all of that. They go up to Gettysburg and do the Civil War reenactments. But some of these boys are looking for Civil War. They have ammunition. I don't know if it's going to happen, but the government is going to have to crack down on the good old boys with a heavy hand to snuff it. You know, you can't.
Mr. DeShields, I want you to tell me about the psychology of America. Larry just alluded to something we've been talking about all week, the Civil War. Mm-hmm. What do you say about someone who, that was 1865, 155 years ago, you lost a fight, but you're still bitter. What do you say about the psychology of a group of people who stole a land, killed the people who were there, and those remaining, they put in slavery. But 155 years later, after burning down Black Wall Street, after destroying Rosewood, after incarcerating Black people to the tune of 25% of the world's inmates, half of whom are Black, what is the psychology of white America?
Well, first of all, Donnie, the Civil War has never ended. You have to understand that the Civil War was fought over the issue as to whether Black people were property, and that battle has never stopped. Everything. A war is fought on different fronts. Not all fronts involve the actual discharge of weapons, not physical weapons, not bullets. Wars are fought at many different levels. Sometimes the wars are fought now in boardrooms. Sometimes the wars are fought in City Hall or in the government offices. But the principle, the basis of the Civil War, that is whether Black people are property and are owned by white people, that principle has never been surrendered. And let me tell you why. And that's why that's what the monuments stand for. The monuments stand for the principle that no matter what happens, you still belong to us. No matter what happens, you're still inferior to us. We can even take traitors and make monuments to them. These people, Jefferson Davis and those people, took up arms against the country. They declared, they divided the country. They declared that they had their own nation. And yet we build monuments to them and we honor them as though they're war heroes. Why? Because the war has never ended. And unfortunately, one of the areas where one of the areas where the war is still being fought is even in the minds and the hearts and souls of Black people.
What do you mean?
Because too many of us still believe in white supremacy. Too many of us still, that when we talk about economic development, we talk about at the consumer level. We talk about grocery stores, and we talk about barbershops, and we talk about 7-Elevens, but we don't talk about the places where the policies are being made, the office buildings. We don't talk about our professionals, the lawyers. I said the other day, somebody said that 80% of the judges, Black judges, came from Black colleges. That's true. But 99% of them graduated from white law schools. Now, what am I saying? That's where you get that's where your skills are fine-tuned. That's where they make the decisions of whether you in or you out. And so when we talk about movement as a people, our thinking is at the bottom. We never think at the top because we already surrendered to white folk the fact that they're in charge, and not just that they're in charge, but that's the way the world was supposed to be, and most importantly, that's the way it's going to stay. That war the Civil War has never ever ended.
Richard McLaren, I see you shaking your head.
Wow. Brother DeShields, he hit it nail on the head, man. There's nothing I can say behind that, man, but he's correct, man. When you have an oppressed mind, you stay oppressed. And that's what we are right now. We don't have no way of thinking our way out of this situation. We think on a small level, do not think on a bigger level, on the grandiose level. And we don't have the fortitude or the backing and the money.
Well, we do have it. We don't use it.
True.
We have the ability to move to Africa if we chose to.
Well,
why would we want to do that? That's not our home. I'm not going to surrender this country to white folk because I know it ain't theirs.
Oh, so we're going to stay and fight.
Pardon?
So we're going to stay and fight. I'm just checking.
Yeah. No. I ain't going nowhere. I know plenty of parts of Africa, but I ain't going nowhere. I was born in Salisbury, Maryland. Okay.
I hear you.
And this is my country, just like it's theirs, and I ain't surrendering to them just because they carry a Trump flag, carry a shotgun. I got shotguns.
Mr. This is as much our country. We've been here. We were here before anyone got here. We built it, and we fought. Our ancestors fought and died for it. So I totally agree. It is our country.
Yes.
Let's act like it.
Donny, let me say this. Right after the riots, Perrin Mitchell put in legislation for the minority set aside. I thought it was Minority 8A, Mr. DeShields, you might remember it. And they put in there where the government had to give us so much of the business. Now, everybody copied it. I'm right here in the city, and I ride around, I see all the school construction, but I don't see any Black contractors. What's happening now, our legislators.
They're building schools, but they're not building them in Sandtown.
They have one right here across from me, over here near Mondawmin. They redoing schools. They redoing them, but they spending hundreds of millions of dollars.
Schools too, Larry. We had 3 in Sandtown. Now we have 1. At Freddie Gray, we had 2, but that was 5 years ago. Now we have 1. So when they say new school construction, where? I don't see it in my neighborhood.
Donny, I'll pick you up. I can go right to my door.
No, I can show you. Sandtown. I don't want to go nowhere.
No. This is what I'm saying. I see these companies getting them, and they're all over the city. But all the contractors, when I go out every day, I see them. I don't know how to speak Mexican, so I say one Black contractor, which is what is that man? Cotton. Cotton have some of the work, but everybody else is the white boys with the pickup trucks. They're getting all the work in our neighborhood, and our elected officials are doing it because they're not holding their feet to the fire with the minority set aside.
I think our Black elected officials don't understand business. See, the
job
of a Black elected official ought to be to help empower the community economically. If you're not using your status as a council person, a delegate, a state senator, a mayor, a governor to help empower the economics of your community, what are you there for besides yourself?
Donny, I want to piggyback on what Larry was talking about. That's the 21st Century Project, new school construction. I happen to be a part of that. I pretty much put all the infrastructure in all those schools. There's basically been about 19 schools reconstructed, rebuilt, tore down, or added on.
What's that mean to me when they're not in my community?
Let me finish, because he's right. Because not one major minority contractor has won those contracts. It's been Whiting and Turner. It's been the firm out of DC, the big construction firm out of DC, and we've been forced to do our part of that work. But the general contractor, the GC, has always been one of the bigger boys working. Those are $100 million projects throughout the city of Baltimore, to the tune of about 19. They got another 17 or 18 schools to do. And I thought that's a true statement what he's talking about in regards to construction.
Yeah, but we don't care. They don't have them in my neighborhood. I hear all of this gibberish, but I don't see them in my neighborhood.
Yeah, Donny, let me say this. I agree with you. There's no new schools, and we could talk about the Maryland Stadium Authority in the 21st century. That's a different issue. Yeah. But the fundamental problem is not in the building; it's in the people inside. See, again, I'm gonna tell you, I'm from Salisbury, Maryland. We didn't have no integrated schools. We didn't have no brand new buildings, but we did have one thing that stood for us. We had teachers who cared. We had teachers who had high expectations for us. We had teachers who pushed us. Even when my grandparents raised me, my grandmother dropped out of school in the 3rd grade. She didn't know nothing about college. She didn't tell me nothing about going to law school. All she said was, boy, you better get up and go to school. You got to get up and get out of here. That's all she said. Get up and get out of here. You going to school. But she knew I was going to a place where the people cared. If I messed up in school, the teacher didn't have to say. All they had to do was drop a dime or come home where they live, because they live next door to us, and tell my parents. That was the problem. See, we have substituted buildings. We substituted buildings for progress. Buildings aren't progress. Buildings don't teach anybody anything. Mm-hmm. Buildings don't provide the education. It's the people. And the problem is our people have abandoned us. They've been taught that we have no value, so they simply don't care anymore. A month after Baltimore City schools officially opened, 30% of the students had never signed on to the system. 30% had never signed on the first time. Not one time. 30%. So yeah, we and going back to, let me get back to Washington for just a second. This was not a group of rioters or protesters. This was part of an organized, government-sponsored attempted coup.
That's what it was.
Okay, led by Donald Trump and his sycophants and his minions.
That's right.
That's why I tell you, why are you surprised that the police don't arrest themselves? Why are you surprised that they take selfies on the stairwells? Why are you surprised? That shouldn't surprise. It was a government-sponsored coup, and there's no now. After the fact, now everybody wants to play kumbaya and let's heal. No. And it is going to happen again. They're already preparing for it. Because the Civil War has never ended. And I'm done. Okay.
And I say, don't let your guard down. Don't let your guard down.
We got a young man who just joined us, young, black, and ambitious. I see you chiming in. Come on. Tell us what you think. Unmute yourself.
All right. I appreciate you, family. Me personally, I understand a lot of everything everybody was saying, and a lot of points everybody making is valid, but that's like y'all mentioned Black Wall Street before. So where does it come? What do we do whenever our people keep trying to build? We keep getting to these high points, and they come and take it all from us. They come and murder our people. We don't have no defense for ourselves. We're not self-sufficient with we got certain people who are trying to be self-sufficient and make gardens and everything, but it's not really coming together, because no matter what, when we stack our cars up, they knock them over. Right, and so
here's the thing. Here's the thing. One thing that's missing in our community is accountability to one another, and that's an unfortunate consequence. That's an unfortunate outcome of the process that existed over years of devaluation, of refusal to acknowledge that we have any value. And unfortunately, many of us still live in that bubble. But so much so that we don't really hold one another accountable. Donny, you're right. Our elected officials act the way they do in many cases because they simply don't know. How can you know what it takes to run a business if you not only have never run one, but you don't take time to talk to those within your community who do, because you don't believe that their opinions have any value.
I honestly think
If we want to know what's going on, we don't come to Richard McLaren about. We gonna call somebody at the Greater Baltimore
But I
Committee.
understand that. But this is what I'm saying though. For a lot of the people in our community who has business, the reason a lot of people like that are I can say why a lot of young people don't approach a lot of older people is because they feel like, it's gonna be the same thing over and over. Who wants to put themselves in that position where they're basically being a slave still? You're working for somebody else. You're paying the money to their building. We don't own the building. We're paying the money to their building. They can cut off the lights at any moment if they want to. We done seen it happen this whole pandemic with people being nasty. When it comes time for rent, they're not being understandable because they're really being pimps and they're like, oh, well, I can put somebody else in this house who can pay right now. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to go grab this Caucasian person, put them in that house that they just kicked you out, and they probably not even paying as much as you paid.
what part of the country are you in?
I'm in, right now I'm in Oklahoma. I'm about an hour from Tulsa and McLaren. I'm from Florida. I've been traveling around. I'm part of the African Union Region 6, and that is for the growth of the Black community all in all. No matter what, it's just for Black people though. But it's just for the growth of us. We're trying to rebuild everything. But that's like I said, from a standpoint, we looking at it as like, how do we protect ourselves? How do we keep these people? These police kill us on TV every day. We see this every day. It's traumatizing for people to see their people get killed every day. It's not.
Young brother, let me say this to you. The worst experience I've ever had with police, and I've been in a paddy wagon, but the worst experience I ever had with police, they were Black. They look just like me. Okay.
I understand.
Now, let me say something else. When I say that we are too outward focused in our vision. It's not about what white folk take from us. It's not about what white folk can do for us. It's what we can do for ourselves.
Yes.
And the fact of the matter is, we have resources within our community that are not being used for the benefit of the community, and we allow day by day to go by, and we don't hold one another accountable. We don't hold one. Listen, 80% of all the athletes in NCAA Division 1A are Black. The NCAA makes more money than the NFL and the NBA combined. Those 80% of those players, guess who gave birth to them? Guess who changed their little diapers? Guess who fed them? Right? Those are Black kids. We have our resources, but what do? The minute they get old enough, we shuttle them off to the University of Maryland. We say, don't think about Morgan because they might not get you on TV. Don't think about Tuskegee because they might not get you a contract. Don't think about more. Now, fortunately, a lot of young Black athletes are now seeing the folly of that point of view, and they're saying that's why, of course, the debt among Black college graduates is twice as much as proportionally it is for anybody else. So what I'm suggesting is, just like charity, real growth begins in our own home. Now, we can't plan on television. We can't have public meetings to talk about this, to talk about how we do it. But the fact is, until we change the mentality within our own community, we ain't going to change it anywhere else.
I understand, but I'm not talking about them at all. I'm more of a segregationist. I don't want to be around them. I feel like I need to build with my people before anything. I don't even need to. I need to figure out how to do everything from a source standpoint and not like you said, from that standpoint, like I'm buying it from them and then I'm selling it. No, I need to be the source. I need to be making the income make itself. And, a part of the African Union, that's what we've been doing is getting our people together, trying to be on. It's basically like whoever. Right now, we're working at a grassroots level, trying to get just everybody just to come together on one accord because it's already different stuff that's in the play that has been requested that a lot of people don't even know that's already in play for our people that our people ourselves, not with the help of anybody else, have been working on. But the only problem is that like I said, is that me is not really a problem. But what I think about is the defense, and that's not from them helping us or them. It's just, security. Everybody wants security in life, especially when you're building your own economics, your own social development. You need that type of thing. That's what happened to Black Wall Street, is they didn't have that security. They were surrounded by their enemies.
I have a question for Dr. DeShields. The Shields and the panel all along. I had the pleasure of interviewing Dr. George Frazier a few months ago, and we were talking, and he brought up a subject and how he thought that we're all very intelligent. We all got our own freedoms. We all got our own economic systems all across America, but yet still we can't seem to get no unification. Back in the day, we had Martin Luther King. Back in the day, we had Malcolm X. Two guys at the same time leading a group of folks together, separate but moving in a direction. Today, we have pretty much no one leading us in any shape, form, or fashion. And his priors was that we're going to need 4 or 5 across the country, one in California, maybe Texas, one in New York or the East Coast, one in the Midwest, to come together and try to bring a conglomerate of folks together. Dr. Shields, Robert DeShields, I want to ask you a question. What do you think is the first step we have to do to get some kind of mobilization?
Take the Negroes out back.
Well, first of all, we have to recognize and we have to have enough faith to believe that there are others among us who believe what we believe. We just don't know who they are. In other words, there's a finish line out there. But the fact that we can't see all the runners doesn't mean that we aren't running.
Right.
So we've got to, too often we use the fact that we can't change, we can't do everything as an excuse for doing nothing.
Ooh.
We can't do that. I believe that there are others. There's a group of 5 Black men somewhere in this country having the same discussion right now. I don't know who they are, but my faith tells me that they're there. And my faith tells me that when we get to where we're going, if we head in the right direction, we'll get off at the same stop. Mm-hmm. That's what my faith tells me. And that's the faith that we need to have. Because in the reality, it's bigger than us. It's bigger than us. And so what I say and when I talk about accountability, and resources, there are billionaires in our community. We know who some of them are, but there's something very important that's got to be. We can't pursue money or wealth for the same reason or in the same way that white folk got it.
We want the money. We want to be in the video. We want to bling bling, but that's just as confusing.
Yeah,
as what we're dealing with the racial problem. Our inner community issues.
Yeah.
If I'm wearing the bling bling, I gotta remember you done also sold 5 kilos of coke, dope, and Ready Rock in your neighborhood. You done poisoned your own neighborhood. So yeah, you bling bling, but you are complicit in the destruction of our own community.
Absolutely.
We can't give that a pass.
Absolutely. Right. I can't say it more. I couldn't say it better. We've got now. As I try to tell people, how do you improve security? How do you improve? How do you create a level of trust within the Black community for the people who are supposed to be enforcing the law? Well, okay. First of all, we've got to go back and we've got to remove all the barriers to our young Black kids even joining the police force. Years ago, and remember now that the police in Baltimore City are hybrid. I mean, they're city police, but it's a state agency. Okay? Catchers, it's a state agency. But we gave up. We gave up the mechanism to encourage our own young kids to even join the force, and we created barriers. We allowed barriers to be created where they can even get into the academy. And so, which is why predominant number of Baltimore City police, a significant number, don't even live in the city. Not only a lot of them come from York, Pennsylvania, and southern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, true.
Because we ought to be encouraging our kids to want to be police. We ought to be encouraging our kids to want to be firemen. We ought to be encouraging. There's nothing wrong with being There's nothing wrong with that.
My age, we see
Pardon?
everything wrong with it because the badge, first of all, that's the old slave catcher badge. We know the rituals. They got us looking at it every day. We understand this stuff. So this the age of information. We have this information. We know where this policing come from. We know what they are. They still out here catching runaway slaves. It's no difference to us from looking at that badge then and looking at it now. We see
When the police, somebody said this the other day, and I hadn't really thought about it. When the police were coming down on the Irish, they decided that the way to make sure that didn't happen was the Irish took over the police departments in all the major cities.
Yeah,
we can't be they, is what I'm trying to say to you, young brother. It's not them and us. We can't be they. We don't. The idea is not to get rid of police. The idea is to have police who want to protect us. And the best way to do that, we got to be the police. We've got to be the police. We got to become the they that we're talking about. When Perrin mentions this, and unfortunately, we look at things in retrospect. When Perrin introduced 95-507, which was the bill that somebody talked about, the Surface Transportation Act, the so-called 10%, even that presumed that black folk were inferior. Why? Because it said that we're going to be subcontractors, not prime contractors. It said we're going to be subcontractors. Right? And that's every MBE program that exists in the country today presumes that minority contractors can't be primes. And if you do, you can only do that after a period of mentorship by white contractors. Now, who in the right mind is thinking I'm going to go to Whiting and Turner and they're going to teach me how to compete against them? Come on now. Come on, let's be real about this.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta stop. We gotta stop running up the down escalator, chasing an illusory thing called opportunity. It can't be a level playing field unless two things happen. Either I figure out a way to run faster than them, or you stop them in their tracks till I catch up. But the notion that the world can keep going at its own pace in its own way, and somehow or another, I'm going to get to the point where there's a level playing field. We're just as crazy as that lunatic still on Pennsylvania Avenue if we believe that.
Wow.
Mr. DeShields.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Think about what the young man said and what you're saying. How do we put pressure on the black church? That's our biggest organization in our community and in our nation. How do we put pressure on them to advocate, to begin to advocate? Because one of the things we brought up, I think Donny brought it up earlier, a lot of people don't know how to advocate. We got people like, I remember your name on political flyers back in the day. I used to do a lot of work with the Mitchells. But what I'm saying is, how do, we do it? Back in the day, if you wanted to run for office, you belonged a part of a political organization, you went to the state central committee, they saw how you did, and then they brought you to the forefront, and then you went for a council seat, delegate seat, something like that. That structure was gone right after the riots. So now you don't have but the strong political organizations. We don't have too many strong political organizations that I'm aware of. How do we try to reinstitute it? Because what happens is nothing is original. But when somebody sees something good, they say, okay, me too, let me get on board. You follow me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand. And I would say this particularly to the young brothers and others. Okay. We continue to say we give honor and credit to those that have come before us and everybody talks about, we stand on their shoulders. We stand on their shoulders, but we don't listen to what they say. We stand on their shoulders, but we throw them away because they're over 50. Right. We stand on their shoulders because we don't respect it. We don't do it. Listen to me. We don't have time to stop and debate every issue. If you're 20 and I'm 60 and I've been where you're going and you understand that there really is nothing new under the sun, when I tell you to do something, you got to have enough trust in me to do it. We can debate it when the party's over. We can debate it when we get to where we're going. But in the meantime, we spend too much time disrespecting one another. And part of that breakdown in that chain is that our young people don't have respect for their elders. And that's not their fault. That's not their fault. Don't get me wrong. My generation dropped the ball. We had the baton. But the minute we arrived, the minute we could go to Ruth Chris instead of Sampson's, the minute we could go to McCormick and Smith instead of Sesses, the minute we could go down to the Mars Mechanic instead of the what used to be on Pennsylvania Avenue, we left and said, okay, I got mine, you got yours to get. So it's no surprise that our young people won't follow us because they got no idea where the hell we going.
I mean, and it ain't even that. To be honest with you, it's just that we understand it's been what 400 years. It's nothing new under the sun, but it's ways that we ain't done fought back. It's ways that we ain't done fought. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been praying, marching, all that stuff for 400, 500 plus years. You know what I'm saying? We at some point it comes to a time where you gotta say, am I making the right choices? Is this the right solution? If I'm watching the same thing on, all those people who was switching their tune, Malcolm X, he got tired. He said it's about the ballot of the bullet now. Not just the ballot, but the ballot or the bullet. You had Malcolm X. I mean Martin Luther King. What he said after a while, he said, "I feel like I took my people into a burning house." So we listen to our elders. We listen to all of them, though. We listening to everything. And most importantly, we listen to the ones who they took away from us because it's a reason that they took them away from us. It's a reason that they don't want us to hear those people. It's a reason that they don't want us to have that mentality. That's why they took them away from us because they feared that. They feared that.
Well, Malcolm. The one commonality that Malcolm and Martin had is that they both died before they got to be 40 years old. They were both killed before they got to be 40 years old. Now you can't, if you say you respect me and you say you trust me, then do what I say. There's no other test. You can say what you want. You can proclaim all you want about how much you trust me and you honor me and you all that. But if you don't do what I say, then it's all a lie. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Listen, there is a truth. Everything is not a matter of opinion. Everything is not a matter of, well, you're all right. Look, every opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one. But you got to decide who you're going to believe. That's why Donald Trump was so successful, because he convinced them dummies that before anybody else opened their mouth, he was the only one that they could trust and believe. And that wasn't new. He didn't invent that. Look at history. Look at history. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to dominate this conversation. Somebody go ahead.
Let me give you a comment from Angela Williams, Mr. DeShields. She says, guess who the owners of those teams are? Have you looked at the lineage of those owners? The descendants of the Southern slavers are paying ADOS to make money for them again. Why do the owners own leagues generationally within all sports teams? Look at Baltimore, for example. Y'all punching down on an economic, political, and social
confederacy
bottom cast. Hashtag Lineage Matters. Hashtag Pure Reparation. Hashtag ADOS 101. Hashtag ADOS Politics. Wow.
And Donny, let me give you one key example. You brought up the professional of leagues. The professional women's basketball, the WNBA, I think it's called.
Yep.
The team from Georgia.
From Georgia, Atlanta.
Owned by that woman Kelly or whatever, the one who lost, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Okay, the one who loaned $24 million to her own campaign. She owns that basket. Now, 80% of the players on the team that she owns are black. They did a wonderful thing. They all got together and they supported Warnock. And of course, and they brought in LeBron James, and of course he won. But what did they do? They didn't say we're not gonna play for you. They didn't say we're gonna cut off your money, right? Listen, we can't serve two masters.
I was going to say that the young we can't have two masters. We can't be a part of the problem and part of the solution too.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
What about that? Me as part of the problem. Like, How does that make you part of the problem? Because you're willing to stand up for your
because
people.
we
And
revere.
that's what they took away from our people. I feel like is the morality, and that's why our people will go and buy those clothes and fancy jewelry because they don't got no sense of honor. They don't got no sense of integrity no more. Nobody, and I'm gonna be honest with you. That's why a lot of young people look at old people. They don't want to follow nobody who don't got no honor and no integrity or nothing. Because if you woke for real, you woke for real. You're not out here playing with yourself. You're not out here playing with your people. You're not out here playing with your life, your kids' life, your auntie life. You understand that stuff on TV can happen to anybody you love. Why you out here playing? It ain't no reason to play with us.
No argument here.
Well said, young man. Well said. Well said. Well
But
said.
we
I
hold
love
on.
my people.
We hold
I love
on
my
to.
people.
We're in love with the materialism, YBA. We
But
love
we're taught that.
Nah, not
That's
all of
hand
us
to down.
though. I
The
No.
make a lot of money and I don't care about it. I don't care about it because
But
I
listen,
just need it for my people because of this system they built. That's the only reason
but
I need it.
the bling is passed down to us mentally. You look at the stars, they got the bling. You look at they got the bling, they got the cars, but this is what they promote. But we had to learn to stand up and say, hey, the clothes don't make the man make the clothes. We had to
That's
know that
right.
it's okay to wear the same suit for, if you have the same suit, one suit for a year, it's okay. We had to understand it. But when I look at a person, I look at their tennis, right? And that tell you the truth if they getting money or not. Because when we getting money, we spend money on shoes. But they know that. You know what I mean? If they got
Well,
some,
not necessarily, because the old dudes that ran the numbers drove them deuce and a quarters, and they were long, old cars, made a lot of noise. They were ugly, but the police didn't mess with them because they were not flashy.
right, right. But that was then. But look at it today.
Oh,
If
But
we
somebody,
want, if,
the problem is not making money. The problem is greed and the willingness to do anything for it, and the fact that it's unbridled. Nobody is willing to say enough is enough, as the borrowed phrase. Enough is enough. How much is too much when what I have keeps you from having what you need to support your family? I got too much.
right?
I don't want all of Oprah's money
You
or
know,
Jeff Bezos'
it's
money.
very controversial for me to say, but I
Yeah.
see more business people, more straight-laced business people with that mindset. And then I go to the hood and I see these gang members and stuff, and they will bust down $100,000 with each other till the last penny. You get what I'm saying? And so I think they like warped everybody's mental to like now people are doing bad things and they think it's good and and then people are doing good things, but they're doing a lot of bad things. They have a bad mentality with it. So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
creating more bad. I don't
So
know.
let me ask you, YBA, what do we do to heal the black family? Quite often, daddy is not in the house. The black father is not in the house. And this goes back 400
With
years.
that one, I could go with what OG said, accountability. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. We all done read the Willie Lynch address. We know the mind tactics they using, the manipulation they using, but we still feed into it. We still let a girl will make a man mad and he'll be bitter, or vice versa. A black man will make a black woman mad, she'll be bitter. We need to quit feeding that energy into our people and quit being bitter to each other and let's just we don't gotta be like that. We don't have to be the stereotypical of what they think we are. We could choose to be we could choose to be different. We could choose to not be toxic, but we gotta quit. We gotta change everything how they perceive us. Like right now in the music, they making the girls, it's a bunch of girl rappers. It's cool to be toxic. It's cool for they got OnlyFans. Men are out here buying porno from girls. It's just like it's a toxic culture, like a girl will get mad at a man right now, at a young man like myself. If I don't let my girl make no OnlyFans, she might get mad at me if she ain't got her mind right. Luckily I be around the real queens, but it's women out there like that, and I done seen it.
What is a real queen?
A real queen, a woman who respects herself, respect her people enough to not be out here looking foolish. You know what I'm saying? That's like myself. A lot of stuff I won't do. It's death before the sun. I never disrespect my people or myself by looking foolish like that. And I know a lot of people my age will though, And when you got a woman who will she's about her growth in her community. So she's not trying to be on nothing toxic. She's not trying to talk to you about Cardi B or WAP or Megan Thee Stallion. She over here talking to you about energy, growth, goals in life, different things that are they just not of this world. And I think that's the difference. Is a lot of times our people get caught up in this world when, we ain't even got ourselves together. How we gonna be out here trying to, we just walk around broken, trying to do a whole bunch of stuff. It don't make sense.
Wow. Donnie, the young man, I got to commend you, man. You're really well spoken, and I like what you're saying. But Donnie, I got a question for the group, and real quick. Across the country, every city across America got a Robert DeShields, got a Rick McLaren, got a Larry Gaines, got a Donnie, got a young man like that, all across the country, in almost every metropolitan city. But there's no connection, man. We're just flapping in the wind. We're doing our own little thing in our own little fiefdoms. There's no way to gain power unless we collaborate, unless we circle the wagons. How do we do that, guys? I mean, really, because really, Donnie, there's a Donnie Glover right now in Cincinnati, Donnie Glover in Houston, Donnie Glover in California, doing the same kind of dialogue, having the same kind of conversation. But until we get some collaboration, we're going to be stagnant.
Larry Gaines, I want to bring you into this. One thing I didn't clarify, Richard, is that Larry is a business owner. As a matter of fact, he was a bail bondsman, and this state passed legislation that killed his industry, and it killed the black bail bondsmen, and that's why this show, pretty much in part, is no longer on the air, or a big part of it. So a question becomes, how do we empower young, black, and ambitious? YBA, what can we do to help you?
All right. So listen, the African Union, it's like 55 African presidents, right? They requested us
54 countries.
55 African presidents got together with the United Nations, requested that we create our own government here in America, pretty much like the Indians with their tribes and everything, how they had their reservations. They trying to do that. We got our reparations things already in the court. It's at like $1.62 quadrillion right now. And that's for all black people. Like, you didn't even have to know about this or be a part of this, but you should be, because this is for all black people, like all black people. All right, so this is what
do you know about reparations?
What I know about reparations, all I know is that it's owed to my people, and that we got a case in the court, and I guess it's the human rights courts. Yeah, so that's what it's going through, but it's through St. Michael Ewers. I can type his name in the comments box.
I have a question for you, young man. Did you know the Nation of Islam, they were going to, Muammar Gaddafi was going to give him $1 billion to encourage black business in the United States?
10 million, Larry. It wasn't $1 billion.
How much was it?
10 million.
And didn't the CIA or somebody step in and say, you better not do it?
Yeah, they blocked the nation from getting that money from Gaddafi.
Because they didn't want us to advance.
Yeah. Well, however you want to put it. They said no. Just like those security guards over there in D.C. said yes.
Because they were on their team. They wasn't on our team. We got the nation is split straight down the middle, and you got two teams. You got us and you got them.
Okay, my bad.
No problem.
Yeah, I knew about that too. That's why they killed Muammar Gaddafi, because he was trying the same thing I'm talking about with the African Union. He was trying to do that. He was trying to spread over here and come deal with all the brothers in the diaspora, regardless of if he was in Africa or not. He was about to create the gold dinar. That would have been the biggest world currency. Over there, he had free electricity for his people, everything. He was on a whole nother level on that Pan-Africanism. He was trying to really take care of our people. And that's what I'm saying is, every time somebody try to take care of our people, what do? They murder them.
They kill them.
And so at some point we have to, I done came to the realization, these people, they killed them for a reason. They was going down the right path. These people was out there trying to change things for our people. This is why they was killed solely for trying to advance the black race, simply because of that. Just like in like I said in Tulsa, how they bombed Tulsa. Why? Because they was advanced. Y'all got y'all own bus system, y'all own mail system, y'all got helicopters, planes, everything. Y'all got everything. They don't like that. They don't like when we have stuff. They want us to keep coming to them, begging them for stuff. That's all they want.
I want you to be encouraged, YBA. We're on Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 East Coast time, and you're always welcome on the show. I'm proud of you. I'm proud to make your acquaintance.
I'm proud of meeting y'all too, man.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely here for this, for my
That's a
people.
blessing, bro.
This ain't no facade. I'm out here, constantly. I did a diplomat day on September 11th. That's where we bring out the African Union flags. And that's a diplomatic statement too, because what they're trying to do is grant diplomatic immunity for all the black people. So they're trying to get us dual citizenship through Africa. That way we already got an army type deal. If they do want to do something like that, the people in Africa basically saying like, we want to fight for y'all. We want to stand up for y'all. We want to be, we on, we trying to be down with y'all, but they on some, y'all can build over there. We can build over here, and we come together and we'll be like a big superpower of black people, basically.
Good stuff. It sounds good to me. So you do have a passport?
Right now, I don't. I just been dealing with the ambassador from the Kikuyu tribe. He lives in Atlanta. St. Michael Ewers. Y'all check it out though. I'm telling y'all some good stuff. And if y'all can hit me up on here, I don't know how to do it, but if y'all can give me y'all emails, then I can email y'all the paperwork and everything.
I'll put it in the comment section.
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to go around the horn. Any final thoughts? It's been a beautiful Saturday morning. Richard McLaren, thank you for making it your business to get this show going. So Richard, you want to share your final thoughts?
My final thought, first I want to commend this young man, man. I'm really excited to hear your voice, man, and hear you articulate your position so well. And I appreciate you, man, and thank you. And I will put my email address in the comment. I got a little issue with you, Donny, because I need Marsha Jews on the show when I come on the show. That's my girl. You know what I mean? But listen, on the real though, guys, listen, we got a very serious situation going on in DC. It's something that needs our attention. You notice now they're not talking about no stimulus check for y'all. They ain't talking about anything else, but now trying to get rid of Trump. We got to stay focused, man. And we just got to stay together as Democrat, minority, Republican, whoever you are. Right now, I'm talking to the Democrats.
Make sure it's B1.
We have to be together on moving forward. Biden cannot get nothing done if we're disjointed. We have to, just for the sole purpose that they did it for 4 years. Let's be selfish for one time in our life. Let's take control for one time. Let's take control for one time of our lives. Let's say no for one time of our life. Just come on, we can do it, guys. Come on.
Hey, bro, say we're gonna be Joe Biden president.
Now in the politicians' hands, if I'm not mistaken.
Say it again.
The ball is now in the hands of the politicians. You got the Senate. What else is there that you want the people to do? Because at this point, we need deliverables. We need to be served.
We got to hold them accountable, Donny. That's the problem. Once again, they get in there and they got their own little political agenda. Similar to those guys.
Said that. So, YBA, this is something that we all got to do. It is not enough to just vote for Richard. You got to get Richard's phone number, his cell number, his email address. You got to know where he lives at. You got to know if he got a girlfriend, where she live at. You got to know where he work at. You need to know everything about him. You have to stay on him like white on rice.
For sure.
And say, you said you was going to do this for us. So we need it and give it up. And, you also got to get somebody on bench, on deck. You got to build your bench.
Yeah.
Because Richard can only do it for so long. And sooner or later, if he stay there too long, you know what's going to happen to Richard? The same thing that happened to all the rest of them. They get greedy.
Yeah.
And Richard over to jail for stealing $15,000 or $35,000.
They done pimped them off the bench.
Yeah. So I give you a third piece. Don't get a black elected official who's broke.
They all going there broke.
That's the problem. They gotta have their own money, YBA. Yeah. See, if you ran for office having your own money, you're vastly better off than somebody who go in who broke.
Amen.
Because the one who broke is thirsty. And anybody say, hey, look, I got some of this for you, they lose focus.
No.
They broke. They need money. Their girl saying, dude, the mortgage due, and I want a bigger house.
I'm doing good.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it be like that sometimes too, man.
Hey, Larry, say
Yeah.
something.
Yes. Hey, well, this is what I want to say, Richard.
Yes,
My
sir.
son is an engineer, and he's a part of a black tech group. Have you ever heard of him?
What's
It's
the
a bunch of real sharp young brothers.
What's the name?
Huh?
What's the name?
He just tell me black techies. They're engineers from all around, and they get together and they discuss stuff and all of that. What I like to do is talk to my son, see if they talk with you, which I think they would. But Donny can connect us, and whenever they meet, maybe my son can get you on agenda to talk to him, because they're trying to figure out things like, and you probably could help them. Hey, go in business because they want to go in business. Some of them are going in business. They're doing a lot.
YBA, out there in Oklahoma, there's a lawyer. You got to look him up. His name is DeMario Solomon Simmons. And he's leading the lawsuit, one of the lawsuits to get Tulsa, to make sure that people get reparations for what happened.
Can you write it in a private chat?
I will.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
DeMario Solomon
Mr. Larry
Simmons.
Gaines, I like to meet your son too. He sounds like a good dude, man.
Donny will give both of y'all my number.
Yeah,
He'll give both of y'all my number.
Give it to me
And
now.
I'm one of them people, you don't have to schedule a call, you just call me. If I'm busy, I'll tell you I'll call you back. You know, when people tell me we're going to schedule a call 3:00 tomorrow, I ain't into that. If you got an issue, call me day or night. You know what I'm saying? I answer. My phone was always on. And I'll tell you, hey, I'm busy right now, but I'll call you back shortly.
Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate
I'm in
that,
business
man.
to do business.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. So
Gentlemen,
that's one thing I wanted to ask y'all before y'all go off. I wanted to ask y'all, okay, so they requesting us to build a government, which means we need to elect our own officials. We need to have our own elections. We need to build our own government. So do y'all think that as Black people we should, use what we know as the American governmental system to be a pretty much skeleton type, key to making our thing? Or should we just, do a whole way with the American way, and we just, because we was raised that way? So should we throw that all out, or should we, do y'all think we should start from scratch?
I'll take a stab at it. I say there's nothing wrong with the system. What's wrong is the people running it. There's nothing wrong with the church, with the mosque, with the synagogue. It's the people running it. So, so what you don't want to do is replace them with more people with the same sickness, whatever color they are.
That's right.
You're right.
And let me share this with you, YBA. You ever heard of John Brown?
No, sir.
Yeah.
They got a movie out on Hulu, I think, called The Good Lord Bird. But John Brown was a slave insurrectionist who fought for Black people, white man. And I share that with you because not every Black is your friend and not every white is your enemy.
That's right. That's right.
What you saw at the Capitol was civil war. That was white against white.
And that was the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand that, but I mean, if we build in our government, I just feel like we need to do it. When you seen the Indians break away and build their tribes, they ain't bring no white or Black or Chicos or nobody else to come help them do their thing.
Here's another point I wanted to make. The first civilizations came out of Africa. So everything built afterwards stole from Africa.
That's right.
So even America is African.
True.
You won't find any person on earth without African DNA. So is America really America, or is it just
a little breakaway African continent? That's how I look at it too. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't think we should ever leave America to go back to Africa when we done already. I feel like we was here when they got here anyways.
Not all blacks came here in the bottom of a slave ship. You're absolutely correct. The Olmec out there in Nevada, you got Egyptian artifacts. You got 450 mound pyramids across North America. Look at Mexico. The Olmec is, the pyramids, but they'll tell you, nah, no black people were here. Dude, we were the first sailors.
For real.
We are the first on every continent on earth. We know our history.
Yeah.
It's time to implement it. That'll be the final word. We got to get out of here. Larry Gaines.
Hey, love, family.
Love.
Thank you, everybody.
Up today, down tomorrow. Do your day and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it, regardless of how I feel. I am.
All right.
I am.
All right, love.
All right. Be good, yo.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
Yep, take care.